and my hair looks a wreck, but hey. So, how you guys doing? For those of you who maybe didn't see my update yesterday or didn't see my updates over the course of the last, I would say, month or so, yesterday my husband and I went to Sailor Moon the Super Live in Chicago. And right at the beginning of the video, because after it's done being live, I'm going to share this with everybody I know because the share button's kind of not working on me today. I want to apologize to my friend Heather. I tried looking for you in the crowd, and I think there were just too many people. I didn't see you. I wanted to say hi really badly, but as you likely saw, things got really chaotic when we were at the show, so I lost track of everybody that I wanted to say hi to. But if there's anybody else who wanted to see me, wanted to say hi, and I didn't get a chance to see you, I'm really sorry because the crowd was chaotic, and I will get into that. For those who did see me, you probably spotted me in my latest shirt. This was a shirt that I made to celebrate 20 years of Moon Sisters being in action. I've been meaning to update the site. I should have done that 2 months ago, but been having some health issues, and there will be an update on that later this week, but all's good for right now. But yeah, I've got this on my TeePublic store. I'll add a link after the video's done with in the comments section if you'd like to get this as a shirt. I chose light pink. Or if you'd like to get this as like a mug or a sticker or something. Because somebody had to represent Kosagi. And I was one of only a handful of folks that wanted to represent Chibiusa, and she will come back in the story. And of course, I was selfish. I put myself on the shirt too. Yeah, that was pretty selfish of me, but I did it. And, of course, I have Sailor Moon goodies to talk about as well. So, wanted to talk about the adventure that was going to see Sailor Moon in Chicago. And if you haven't had the chance to, and you're in one of the last 6 or 7, I think it's 5 or 6 cities that they're doing for the rest of the week, go. Go. I don't care what seat you get, just go. You won't be disappointed. This show was worth the wait. That's a spoiler for later in the video. But it was absolutely worth it. So I got like the Superfan ticket sale the day that the tickets first went live. And I got my tickets through Ticketmaster. And I got the Ticketmaster app. I even bought insurance for the tickets for just in case. Because our area is still... It's been several years, but we did get hit with COVID a little bit, so I had insurance for just in case, and thankfully I didn't need it. But it was worth the price. If you hear Malachi in the background, my hubby's watching him right now, so I can have a minute to talk to everybody. So I got the Superfan sale, and I didn't know that there were going to be regular tickets and VIP tickets, because it never showed up on Ticketmaster. And again, I bought my tickets the instant they went live on Ticketmaster. And that will come up later in the story too, because I was not the only person who wasn't aware about VIP. So anywho, got the tickets as soon as they went live, and it was a Tuesday show, which was kind of rare, because most of the time everybody wants to do weekends. Sailor Moon wanted to do Tuesdays, so that was interesting. So fast forward to yesterday, and my husband and I would take public transportation up to Chicago, because I'm never driving in Chicago traffic again. Not unless, like, it's a life or death situation. There's no point in me doing that. And if you live in the Chicagoland area, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't live in the Chicagoland area, imagine your favorite Mad Max movie. Now add buildings. Okay, now you know what it's like to drive in Chicago. Specifically, Fury Road for me. That's one of my favorites. Anywho, so we go to board the train. We take the South Shore up to Millennium Station, and then we just have to walk like across the street, and Chicago Theater's right there. So you could not possibly ask for a better venue for Sailor Moon. It was perfect. So we take the South Shore, and as we're waiting for the train, we've only got like 11 minutes. We're waiting for the train. this lady comes up, and she sits beside me in the little booth area where you go buy your tickets. And she has a giant Target bag, and it's got a tag on it, so she has not taken the tags off of this thing. And she's talking to herself, and I'm thinking she's mumbling to herself and fiddling with her wallet because she's trying to figure out the machine where you buy the tickets, because it can be a little confusing. I do mine on the South Shore app. So I was like, whatever. I don't pay attention to her. I go to step outside, get some fresh air, because the vestibule is airless. And she steps outside after me, and she goes, "Excuse me, do you have the time?" And I look at my phone. Oh, it's 11 minutes till the train. It's 2:22. And she goes, "Thank you. I have $5,000 cash in this Target bag. I need to make sure it gets on the train." I'm a stranger. Why in God's name would you tell me you have $5,000 in a tote bag? You have no idea what kind of person I could be. I mean, for you, thankfully, I'm not interested in your cash. Go to the bank with that. I don't care. But I could have been a bad person. Why on earth would you tell me this information? And she has underwear on top of her money. I didn't need to know about this, but it's my knowledge now. But I figured this will set me up for the rest of the day. So we take the choo-choo train, and she is 2 seats ahead of us and talks to people who aren't there. And she gets off about 2 stops before we do. And she waved goodbye to everybody, and we were like, "Bye, lady with the tote bag, bye." And John thought that was a little nuts. So then we get off, and John checks his phone, and he realizes it is 3:40. And he's like, "The show's not until 7. Do we really need to be here this early?" And I was like, "Yes, we do." So we walk just a little bit over to where Chicago Theater is, and on the marquee it says, "Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, tonight only." So of course I have to get a picture with like this giant marquee, and they're up on the moonsisters.org Facebook page right now. I was going to upload pictures for the video, not really working right, so go to that Facebook page and you'll see them. They also have signs up on the building, no masks, and they want you to take your sunglasses off before you get your bag checked. And they did this because, although it's in the heart of Chicago, enough crime has happened in Chicago to warrant this. So the photo I have up, I had to take off my mask, so it's still in my hand. I still wear a mask just because I'm immunocompromised, but if I need to take it off, it's really not the end of the world. It's just a personal choice for me, so I don't care. But we got some great pictures of the big marquee, so you can see Sailor Moon is on the marquee. And as soon as we're done taking our pictures, we take a step forward, and yeah, there's already a line at the ticket booth. And I was like, this is why we're here early. So I told my husband that you show up early for this event because the merchandise goes quick, and that's going to come back in the story. Because, yeah, it went quick. So we stand in line for 100 years, and there's a whole bunch of Moonies that are lining up. And at first, like, everybody's, like, real friendly, and we're all, like, comparing notes, favorite characters, and all that. But I noticed that the first group of fans, once they see Chibiusa, they kind of don't want to talk to me anymore. And at first I thought, well, maybe it's because maybe they know about Moon Sisters. No, they didn't. They just were a little bit peeved at this one. And I learned very quickly that even though it's been years and years and years since the Deke edit of Sailor Moon, there's still a lot of people who never forgave Rini from that specific dub. Like, they just can't let it go. They won't watch the Viz dub. They won't give the manga a try. They just cannot let this one specific aspect of this character go. And I was like, that's cool. You know, there's so many characters in Sailor Moon to love. Chibiusa does not need to be your favorite. She wasn't my favorite until I started reading the manga and got the lost episodes of Sailor Moon. So I understand. You know, it doesn't hurt my feelings. But everybody was like into their favorite ships and into their favorite characters and talking about video games just to make the time pass. And we saw a lot of interesting characters while we were waiting. There was this one lady who rode past us on a bicycle, and she was mad. She was like, "Why y'all waiting for Sailor Moon? You should be in church." And I'm like, it's Tuesday. The churches here don't have service on Tuesdays. Wrong day of the week. We saw a dude feeding the pigeons, and we realized we were directly across the street from ABC7 and ESPN Chicago. So we had to take pictures that were like that close. And the neat thing is, until they put the sliding panels up on the ABC building, when the blue panel is down, you're actually on TV. So while they're doing the live news program, you can wave hi and you're on TV live. So that's always cool. Curiously, the 4th floor of the ABC Chicago building has Elvis staring out of the window like this. I don't know what that's about, but I guess he was mad he couldn't get Sailor Moon tickets. Which was interesting because tickets were available until the doors opened. You know, I was still checking the Ticketmaster app because some people wanted to buy their tickets the day of, and there were tickets available. And yeah, as soon as the doors opened, those spots got taken. So it did sell out like right as people showed up. So as we're waiting in line, different groups of Sailor Moon fans come in. Not a lot of cosplayers. There was about, I would say 30% of the crowd was cosplaying. And I think it's mostly because it was so cold that day. And a lot of people weren't sure about the rules because the rule for dress was kind of vague on the website for the Chicago Theater. Some people say no hoodies at all, and some people say hoodies are fine. So some people wore their Sailor Moon hoodies. I wore a winter jacket because it got amazingly cold real fast, and the air from Lake Michigan like really slapped us all around. So I just wore my usual winter coat over my Moon Sisters shirt, and everybody else, they wore similar coats. And then some people did cosplay, but it was like Halloween, where like you've got the coat and you walk up and you're like, yeah, and instead of you being a Flasher, it's Sailor Jupiter. Can you tell me how to start my own merge? Well, Anastasia Pie, I can't because I've never done a merge. Sorry. I don't know how either. I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell us. We'll wait for somebody to do that. But anywho, only a handful of people did cosplay, and they mostly stuck to like the main 5 Guardians until later that day, and we'll come back to that. And then about halfway through the waiting time, some of the actresses for the cast, they weren't in costume, but they went across the street to do selfies. And at first I was just like, oh, it must be more Sailor Moon fans because they all have pink bags with them. And then somebody took a picture with them and ran across, and they were like, I think that's actually who's going to be on stage. So I'm not sure, because they weren't in costume, I'm not sure if it was the Yoma or if it was the actual girls, but they were really super friendly, whoever they were. So that was cool. And because they were taking pictures of everything, I might randomly be in some of their photos. I don't know if they'll post it on like Instagram or what have you, but if you see somebody in a cheetah print coat, chances are it could be me. So that's cool. So anywho, we get closer and closer to showtime, and the ushers from Chicago Theater come out, and they're like, okay, you guys need to step back a little bit. So they form different lines, because there's 1, 2, 3, about 4 doors. Well, I would say, yeah, there's 4 doors to get into the Chicago Theater, at least from my vantage point. So I figured, okay, it must be getting close to showtime. They turned on the lights above us, so they're going to open the doors. Well, then they bring out these giant barricades, and this is where we found out about VIP fans. And they told us, if you have VIP tickets, you go over here. If you have everything else, you stay where you're at. Well, I checked my phone, and it just says Superfan Presale. It doesn't say anything about VIP. And everybody checked their phones. They were looking through Ticketmaster. There was nothing for VIP, ever. So at first we only see 2 or 3 people come in, and then we find out those who really were VIP didn't use Ticketmaster. They went through the Chicago Theater directly, which we didn't know you could buy tickets, skip Ticketmaster, and go directly through them, because if you go to the official website for Sailor Moon the Super Live and you click on Chicago, it automatically goes to Ticketmaster. So the VIP section, they found the magic juice, they went through the Chicago Theater, and they skipped the whole thing with Ticketmaster, and they got VIP. Now, with VIP, the only thing that we were told you could get was you'd be let in 5 minutes sooner, get first dibs on the merchandise, and then at the end of the show, you could lightly high-five the cast. You're not getting an autograph, you're not getting pictures with them, but you can lightly high-five them as you go away. So a lot of people in the crowd didn't want to find out about VIP, didn't want to know if there was extra, if it was like so much extra to buy a VIP ticket. They were just like, screw this, I'm already in line, and they were happy with what they got. Now, the first person to go to the VIP line is this lady who is dressed as an adult version of Chibiusa. She's wearing the pink gown that we see in Sailor Moon Eternal and Sailor Moon Cosmos and in the manga. And she's got like pink decorations in her hair because she didn't do the wig, but the rest of the costume is pretty show accurate. So we see Chibiusa go in line first for VIP. There's a dude behind me. He told me his life story for the last 3 hours while we were in line. And he pushes me aside and he sees Chibiusa is going to the VIP section. He's like, she's gonna get the merchandise before me. I have to get a light wand. I will tear that bitch's dress up to get a light wand. And those of us who used to role play, I used to role play back in 2008 on Gaia Online. We used to have a couple of Sailor Moon forums. I was in a couple of guilds, and I used to role play as different Sailor Moon characters, usually as my own character, but sometimes I would take over for another character if somebody didn't want it anymore, or if they got sick or whatever. But I'm used to role playing as like inner guardian characters. So myself and a couple of other people, when we hear that this guy who is a fraction of my size wants to tear up this lady's cosplay just so he can get first dibs on a light stick, all of us banded in front of her and we were like, protect the princess! So even people who did not like Chibiusa initially, when we saw that she was like in the line of fire, we all just like, nah, dude, no, you're not going to go after Chibiusa. Hell no. So we protected her so she can go get her light wand and her t-shirt. And this was just the rabid chaos of it, because once people found out about the VIP, a couple of folks in line, like him, lost their ever-loving minds. And I was like, my dude, I know it's going to be expensive, but I promise eBay is cheaper than prison. I'm just saying, okay, I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan too, but I have a limit. So we watched the VIP section go first, and as they were going in first, security came to our doors, and they were holding onto the doors, just like doing that silent prayer like when Black Friday's about to happen. I felt bad for them. So we had to take off our coats, no glasses, no masks, and we had to open our purses and let them look inside and send us through the x-ray machines. And I even had to take off my wedding ring for a little bit. And I tried to take off my Sailor Moon necklace, but it was not working. And the dude like lifted it up and he was like, oh wait, this is a Hot Topic necklace. It's metal but plastic too. You're fine, go ahead. So I didn't have to take my necklace off. So they checked our bags, and of course, none of us were dumb enough to bring anything like guns or weapons or whatever, because we know better. And they were very adamant, you know, no taking photos or videos during the show unless you're told to. So I was like, okay. So then I decide, whatever merchandise is left, I'm going to go see what they have, because I just paid off a credit card. This is a good day to earn some points. Now, keep in mind, I'm a wrestling fan, okay? Wrestling's in my heart. When I go to wrestling shows, the way it's usually set up is you have your concession stand over here, and you have your merchandise stand over here. And you just go. Whichever one has a line, that's where you go. Do you want food? You go here. Do you want merchandise? You go here. You just go to the table, and you buy whatever you want. Okay, that's the way I'm used to it. And I've been to Comic-Cons before, and that's pretty much the same thing, too. You see a table, you either get in line for that table, or if there's no line, you just go, and you buy whatever you want. Not for Sailor Moon. Oh, not for her. For the Sailor Moon merchandise, they made a maze using, like, event tape. They made a maze all the way through the Chicago theater, so you had to come Like, if I'm drawing a picture, you had to come, like, in through the vestibule, and then... Just imagine, like, a family circus kind of maze until you get to where the t-shirts are. And the lights are dim as you're walking. And there's, like, some areas where you can see, like, wall stickers of the cast members. And it's just, like, this big lawn maze till you get the t-shirts. And the way they set the maze up... This is probably bad of me, but it reminded me of Squid Games. So as we're going through the line, I'm like humming, and John is behind me, and he's like, it feels like Squid Games. And, you know, this was something that I was told about. Hey, Gary! So, like, as we're going through the maze, and I'm doing, like, the Squid Games thing, and I'm going, I'm admiring, like, different cosplayers who did cosplay, because it was ice cold, and those who had, like, cute sweaters. I saw lots of cute Sailor Mercury merchandise. I saw 5 different people dressed as cat version of Luna. Like, they even had, like, the cat paws. They didn't want to do human Luna, wrong weather for that, but they wanted to do cat Luna. I saw, like, different cosplay items and such, like, people who were, like, dressing to a point where, like, it's fancy wear, but I've got, like, a Sailor Pluto wig, or I've got something else going on. They were, like, incorporating the characters into their costumes, and I'm, like, complimenting people as we go by. There's this dude ahead of me, and he's got this cute Sailor Moon cosplay on. It's a bootleg dress, but I kind of want it because it does come in, like, grown-up sizes, and it's got, like, this, like, pool thing over it. It's an extra skirt. It's got all the symbols on it, and it's really cute. And it's a knockoff of the one that used to be at Hot Topic. And I complimented him on it because it was, like, super cute. Well, he twirls his skirt because somebody else asked him to do, like, a little Sailor Moon twirl. He twirls, and this is where I realized he didn't wash that day. We had a few people who did not believe in deodorant. So, yeah, I think that might be something to look into there. But we make it through the line, and there wasn't a lot of merchandise left because the VIP session took what they did, but I got some anyway. I had to get a tote bag because I figured if I buy more than one item, it's not going to fit in my purse, so I need something. Cool beans, Gary. Love you. But I figured if I'm going to buy a tote bag, if I'm going to carry anything home, I'm going to need a tote bag. So that was the first thing I got. And the second thing I got, they were out of the character wands because the VIP hogged them all. And I'm sure they're going to end up on eBay after some point. But they have 3 different wands. The one that everybody wants has all the characters' silhouettes on the side. And depending on which button you press, you can either make it like orange, blue, pink, red, or green for each of the Inner Guardians. Those sold out immediately, so the only 2 wands that were left were one in white and one in pink. And since I was wearing pink, where's it at? I had to get a pink wand. I mean, I was going to make it pink anyway, just because I love Sailor Moon, and I'm wearing pink, and I love pink, but this didn't hurt my feelings. Now, some people were like, ooh, it looks so generic, but I like it because, like, it is sparkly. Oh, hey, it actually is showing up in the camera. Let me bring that back. So it is glittery, and it's got 2 settings. So you flick it up, and it does that. You flick it down, and it just stays a solid pink. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, I wish it had the Sailor Moon characters, and I do too. So the week before I went to Etsy, and I found official clear Sailor Moon stickers. This is part of the Sanrio collab. I wish they had these at the event. It's kind of a mixed bag, so I don't know which characters I got. I see a lot of Mercury with Cinnamoroll, and I do see Seiya, but they're clear. So I can just, like, put these stickers on this, and huzzah, now I have my own custom Sailor Moon wand. So, this came in handy, and you can replace the batteries in it too. So it's not like a one-time use thing. You can keep using this, probably forever if you take care of it. So I was happy with it. It was only $10. I got that. See, oh, that's my straw from yesterday. Okay. Next thing I got, I couldn't believe they had one in my size, and it was probably one of 4 left that were in my size. But I got one with the entire cast. They had 2 different versions. They had one that matched the tote bag, and then they had this one. And this was too pretty to walk away, so of course I had to have this one. And on the back, they have all of the symbols, and they have all of the show dates. So it feels like a real concert shirt, you know? Because a lot of people say if it doesn't have the dates, it doesn't feel like it, but this feels like it. So yay, that was too pretty. I had to get that one. And I already have so many accessories that go with that, so that just goes with my wardrobe. And then, ooh, I spilled some popcorn in here. I'm going to have to clean that out. And I wanted to get more trading cards, but I also wanted to make sure I could afford the popcorn because I didn't know how much it was going to be. So I got 3 trading cards. So I got Tuxedo Mask, and ta-da! That was like an extra photo in the back. So I feel like that was a good bargain. I had to get Sailor Moon. Cute pose. And because I knew she was going quick, because everybody wanted her, I had to get Queen Beryl. I just had to. Oh, that is elegant. That is really elegant. And she's coming back in this story too. I had to get her. So these are larger than your standard trading cards. They're more like photos. So I'm just going to put these in a really nice photo album. I know there's a couple of people who are going to be dealing online the Inner Guardians cards, and a couple of variants for Moon, Mask, and Beryl. So I'll be on the lookout for those, but these are going to go into a very nice photo album. Oh yeah, and I got a, hey Star Angel, that is so cool. Yeah, I thought those were cool too. So I gotta clean the popcorn out of my bag, but I'm happy with what I got. I was gonna get like a button too, but like the buttons and the magnets, they were $10 each, and they had a magnet that matched the t-shirt, and then they had a button that matched the tote bag, but they were $10 each. The cards were only $5, so it's like for $15 I can get away with 3 cards. As you saw, they come with doubles, so I feel like I got a good bargain with these. I wish I had gotten a few more, but they'll come up on eBay, they'll go up and down in price, it's not the end of the world. I got like the ones that were going, so I feel really good about that. So then I went to the concession, and I got some lemon water, and I got popcorn, and the popcorn came in a pre-sealed box. And that was a great thing for what happens later in the story. So after I buy the popcorn and our water, we looked at our tickets, and it says we are on like balcony 4 and row S, 405 and 406. I can't believe I memorized that. Well, I didn't, because I've never been to the Chicago Theater before. As for the woman who's bashing Sailor Moon and telling her to go to church, she needs to sit down. Yeah, that's the TVY version of what my husband said. He had some other language. So anywho, I see on my tickets that we are on balcony 4. And because I've never been to Chicago Theater before, I misjudged how big this place actually is. So I found an usher, and she was really cool, and she informed me that balcony 4 is way up. So we have to go up 4 flights of stairs, then take an elevator, go up another floor, and then go up another flight of stairs, and then step down and climb to where our seats are. So it's like, well, that's groovy. I'll come back. But before we did that, we went up to the 2nd floor, and they had this big photo op, and I already put it up on the moonsisters.org Facebook. They had big, like, photo banner up. It's blue, and it's got like the logo all over it, and it looks like something you see at the Oscars, and you can take your pictures in front of it. So I got some pictures in front of it, and then John wanted to do a selfie, so we're like cuddling and doing a selfie together, and it felt like a VIP event, and it was so cool. And I took pictures of that, and I took pictures of the, I didn't post these yet, but I took pictures of the interior of the building because the Chicago Theater is posh. There's beautiful scroll work everywhere. There's carved angels. There's a naked guy wrestling a bear. And there's like real paintings everywhere. It looks like something Princess Serenity would go to. It looks posh. It looks like a place a princess belongs to. So it was a gorgeous building. Perfect for this show. So anywho, like I said, we got to go up several flights of stairs, take an elevator, go up another flight of stairs, and then go yip bip, and then climb to where our seats are. So we make it up the final flight of stairs, and I hear music playing, and I'm thinking, okay, it is 15 minutes before the show's supposed to start. It must be time for us to find our seats. Nope. So I have an Usagi moment. I go towards where our chairs are. I start having vertigo. Really, really bad. It's something that I've battled since I was a baby. I'm currently not on medication for it because the bouts are a little more infrequent. I really wish I had medication though, because this was rough. But I start to have vertigo. I almost fall down the stairs, and this tiny person walks up to us, and he's like, "You guys need to leave right now." And I'm like, "Oh God, am I near somebody's chair?" Because he's not wearing like a uniform or anything, so I don't recognize that he's with the theater staff. I look on the stage, and all 5 of the Sailor Guardians are in their school uniforms, and they're finishing up what's going to be the third to last song of the night. And they're like practicing in their school uniforms, and they look up, they're like, "Nani?" And I'm like, oh, they're in rehearsal. Oops. He's like, "You're gonna ruin rehearsal if you don't leave right now." So I've already got vertigo. I don't want to get in trouble. And like, they're all like looking up, it's like, "Nani? Nani?" And I'm like, oh man, Sailor Moon saw me. So we hid in the stairwell for 15 minutes until he finally came up, and he was like, "Fine, you can go find your seats." And I was like, this guy is like a cartoon character come to life. So we go to find our seats. Now, here's the thing about the Chicago Theater balcony, okay? Let's pretend that my hand is a chair, okay? This looks like a standard chair, right? All right. So at a normal venue, you put your butt here, and your legs go here, and you just sit upright for the show. Okay, the balcony seats for the Chicago Theater are at a 25-degree angle. And there is nothing to stop your knee from going into the next person's seat. So like, here's your kneecap, here's the next seat. You have no space. And you are at a 25-degree angle, and there's like this much of a barricade between you and meeting God. And you are reminded of how close you are to meeting God, because up above, way up above where the dome ceiling is, which is where we were quite close to the dome ceiling. Hi Ace FLA1. We were very close to the ceiling. There's this giant painting of God and Pegasuses. Like, imagine Chibiusa's Pegasus, just minus the horn. So it's there to remind you how close you are to beating God. And like I said, I have really bad vertigo. Oh, yeah? Yeah, I have horrible vertigo. So my seat is like this, and I am tilted like this. And I'm just like... So I'm dizzy now. I've got vertigo. I'm breathing heavily. I'm in full anxiety mode. John held my hand, and he's like, "Just look at the stage. Just focus on the stage." Because like, vertigo comes in waves. So you start to feel better. Your body cools down. The air conditioning helps. So it cooled me down. So I'm not going to barf on anybody. I go to turn my head to say, "I'm so glad you're with me." In turning my head, I see like this pool of seats going all the way down to the stage, and I see more of the architecture, and I realize again how close I am to heaven, and it just re-kicks in the vertigo all over again. So the first like 30 minutes I'm in my chair, I'm just like staring like blindfolders at the stage, because if I turn my head even slightly and I see anything else, the vertigo starts all over again, and I am just like when I was giving birth. So I had to like work through the vertigo, so I'm kind of glad nobody recognized me, because I was like feeling embarrassed too with the vertigo. So I'm just like focusing on the stage, which was gorgeous. They did this cute thing where there's like a crescent moon in the middle. There's a crescent moon staircase in the middle, and it lights up like the moon, and I thought that was super cute. And they have like this galaxy, like in Sailor Moon Crystal, playing in the background. Did you like Sailor Moon? Loved it, and I'm going to go into the show soon. But they have like this galaxy playing on the stage, and it's got the logo up, and they're testing the lights in blue and white, and it's really pretty all over the stage. And I'm starting to come down from the vertigo, and as I'm like almost done with having vertigo, this lady comes up, and she's yelling at my husband, and she's like, "You're in my seat! You're in my seat!" And we were like, no, because the chairs, the armrests have the seat numbers, 405, 406. And that's when we realized that the armrests are numbered wrong. The correct number is under the seat itself. So her chair, which is 404, not found, well, it's numbered wrong. That's why she couldn't find it. So we had to get up and move over a seat so she could have the seat that she paid for. And I apologized my butt off. I was like, hey, don't yell at my husband anymore. This was on me. I'm the one that told him to sit there. I thought that was the correct chair. This was numbered wrong. If you're going to be mad at me, because I'm the one responsible. And she was just all huffy and puffy, and I was just like, leave my husband alone. He didn't do this. So, in getting up and moving over, now the vertigo's back again, because I had to look up and turn around, and oh, I'm really close. So it took a while to come down from that again. And then right before the show starts, they have a couple of messages up. The first message is, this has to stay off until a certain point in the show. So I was like, okay, turn off the light sticks. And then the second message that plays, they're like, technically, it's a no device show. However, when we do the Moonlight Detsetsu number, which is the, theme song, at the end of the show, we want you to have your cell phones up. We want you to take videos, take selfies, take pictures. That will be the one part of the show where we want you to take all the media you want. So that was like how they got through it. And nobody has said anything, but I really hope that we get a DVD or a streaming release of the show at some point. In Japan, there's bunches of DVDs for a lot of these plays, so I'm really hoping we pick up on that trend. And then a lot of people were talking about how right before we all got in, there was a Playbill article, and Playbill said that if the show does well enough, they might go to Broadway. That would put them in line for winning a Tony Award. So I'm crossing my fingers, because I think they deserve it. So now it's showtime, and this was worth everything. So the very beginning of the show opens where you see the girls in their school uniforms, and they open up these big planets and the moon, and they dance around stage with the planets, and then they huddle together, and then the planets go away, and they're all transformed, and they do their poses. And I gotta admit, I got a little emotional, because it was like, Sailor Moon's really here. I got a little emotional at that point. I didn't think I would, but I got a little emotional seeing, like, oh, it's all 5 of the Sailor Guardians, and they're in person. And then they go away for a little bit, and they play this animated opening, and they take the manga, and they animated it. And it was the coolest thing. I wish I could see a movie like this. They took actual panels from the manga, and they animate them individually, and it's just this seamless little movie going through the whole Dark Kingdom arc, and a little pop here and there from Codename Sailor V. It was gorgeous. And like the animation when they go through Ray's temple and Phobos and Deimos go in their own directions, oh, the crowd was screaming for that point. And there's another point, it's all in black and white, but then they'll do like a pop of color, a rainbow wave, and like the end of it, you see like Sailor Moon, and she's extended the wand, and like Queen Metalia's behind her, and then you see the moon glitter up, and it's this gorgeous animation. Like, we were just blown away just by the opening. And then the play itself is, I need some water because I'm losing my voice a bit. Okay, so like the play itself is the entire Dark Kingdom arc squoze into about 90 minutes. So we open up, after that, after the video, we have like this little segment, and it's Codename Sailor V. And she appears on stage, and she's catching jewelry thieves, and then she finds out that some of the thieves are actually Yoma. So we see her attack, and she's like doing all of her attacks from the manga, and she's taking down these Yoma, and she's taking back the jewelry that they've stolen, and it is so cool. And I'm just like, nobody told me Codename Sailor V was going to be a part of it, so I'm just like freaking out. And she's got this gorgeous costume on. And then they do another little bit where the Osapi jewelry store is in the play, but there's no Naru. There's no Naru's mom, no Four Generals, no Queen Serenity, and no Artemis. Just FYI. And no Umino. But we're still at the jewelry store that Naru's mom owns. So we're seeing like Yoma at the jewelry store, and Ami and Rei try to buy a necklace there, but it's like an evil necklace, so they don't want the necklace anymore. And Sailor Moon appears, and Tuxedo Mask appears, and it goes about the way you would expect it to. And they also do a number where poor Usagi, she doesn't want to get up and go to school, and Haruna and Ikyuko are actually in the play, but they went with their Materials Collection art book versions. So Ikyuko has like light purple hair, and she's got this green and yellow outfit from the Materials Collection art book. Miss Haruna looks the way she does in Sailor Moon Crystal, with the lighter hair and the pink outfit. And Usagi has like random classmates in the back, but they're kind of faceless. They kind of remind me of like the classmates that we see in the 90s anime. And there's this cute number where like they have her tests blown up, and they're all just like pitiful. And as she talks, these little talk balloons come up, and it's all in color, but the talk balloons look like they do in the manga. And she meets Mamoru, and they butt heads, but you can tell there's a connection. And he's really focused on trying to find the crystal, but he can't stop looking in her direction. And she's like, he's so annoying, but why can't I stop looking at him? What's going on with that? And we're just like, oh. They speed through the introduction of the Inner Guardians a little bit. And Rei is like a mixture of her 90s anime self and who we see in Sailor Moon Crystal. So she kind of butts heads with Usagi a little bit, but we don't see too much of that. And then afterwards, she's more like her Crystal counterpart. So they have like their cute little introduction numbers, and Queen Beryl keeps coming back, and she has like this little reprisal number of how she's looking for all this energy. And at first she's like, I need more energy for Queen Metalia, and I need to find the crystal. But after a while, she kind of lets it loose that she's getting a little sick of this. She's kind of sick of the whole stealing energy from people thing, and she's relying on the Yoma so much, but they suck, and she's kind of getting tired of them. So she kind of like lets us know how she's feeling throughout the play. And it adds like this perfect little Rita Repulsa human twitch to her. So then there's a portion of the play that goes the way you remember it. You know, Tuxedo Mask is starting to do more with the team, and Luna appears as like this animated sort of silhouette. So we don't get like an actress as Luna, we don't get a puppet as Luna, we get like a silhouette on the screen of Luna. And we get our instructions from Luna from time to time, but she's largely out of the picture, and there's no Artemis. he's like briefly mentioned, but we don't see him. And then Sailor Venus appears, and she lets us know that she was codenamed Sailor V in the background, catching all these thieves, but it's all linked to Queen Beryl. And then when it gets time for the point in the story where we find out Usagi's the princess, and the crystal appears, that was so cool. Like, Tuxedo Mask, he actually does more in the play than he does in either of the anime. Like, he takes action. He's fighting the Yoma too, and he does have his own power in the beginning. It's not as stable as the girl's powers, but it's there, and it counts. So they gave him more to do. But, like, midway through the play, Queen Beryl decides she's tired of relying on the Yoma. She's going to just start attacking people by herself. Screw you guys. And she takes over to let everybody know she's the main villainess. So she attacks each of the Sailor Guardians, and then she hits Tuxedo Mask, and it awakens Usagi's memories. And the interesting twist they did here was that when he gets hit, he suddenly gets his memories back before she does. So he remembers, oh yeah, my name's Endymion. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Blech. And, of course, Usagi freaks out, and that awakens the crystal, and that awakens her memories. They do a beautiful number about that, and they do, like, this really tragic video in the background where we see what happened. And if you watch Sailor Moon Crystal, you know what I'm talking about. If you only saw the 90s anime, I'm just going to say, for the sake of YouTube, I can't say what happened. I'm just going to say, if you have any thoughts about self-harm, don't do it. Just text 988 if they don't pick up. Just do that. Do that. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say. But once she gets her memory back, like, they do this really cool thing where, like, there's a lot of darkness, and she's, like, crouched in on herself, and then all of a sudden, this light appears in her hand, and it's the crystal, and it's just like, ooh, like, right in her hand. And they do this animation in the background to show, like, how much power the silver crystal has. And she's like, it's like a magic show where she's got this light, and she's, like, twisting her hands around it, and she's just like, come back, Tuxedo Mask, open your eyes. And then, like, he, like, slowly lurches forward, and he's like, oh, I'm feeling all better. And then Queen Beryl, like comes up the stage, and she's like, yoink. And she, like, reaches towards him, and he automatically slides into her arms. And she kidnaps him. Now, at this point, we were all expecting it to go like it does in both of the anime, where, like, she's, I've possessed you, and you're going to go after Sailor Moon. My girl, Queen Beryl, is out of pocket in this play. This is where the story takes its own turn. Screw the anime that you remember, and it's like she's my Queen Beryl versus traditional Queen Beryl. What I mean by that is, if you go through my playlist, I have a playlist on this channel called It's Always Sunny in the Dark Kingdom, and I have another one where Queen Beryl goes on vacation, and it's totally just Queen Beryl just on her off day, right? This is the version of her that they chose for the play. So she kidnaps Tuxedo Mask and takes his ass to Vegas. And there's this whole number where she takes him to a dance club, and the lights are very Las Vegas, and she's just, like, tearing it up on the dance floor and singing about dancing with Tuxedo Mask, and it's like part rave party and part Las Vegas, and the Yoma are getting into it, and they're just like, they've got their own light sticks, so they're just, like, tearing it up, and, like, Tuxedo Mask is, like, zombie dancing, like he's attached on puppet strings, and she's, like, tearing it up on the dance floor, just having the best time ever. And she's teaching him moves, and she's, like, posing provocatively on here. And this is where I realized this is a predominantly adults-only show. There's only, like, 2 kids in the crowd, and everybody else is an adult, and this is just for the adults. So she's just, like, getting raunchy with Tuxedo Mask and having a blast in Vegas. And when he comes back, still possessed, to go after Sailor Moon, he doesn't try to kill her right away. He tries to seduce her. And he's like, I've learned all these moves. Come check me out, Sailor Moon. And Sailor Moon is just like crouched in on herself, and she's like, I I'm happy you're okay, and I wanted to see you, and I don't know where to go with this. Did we do any of this in our previous lives? And she's like confused because she's like, am I supposed to move this way? Am I going to get in trouble? And everybody in the crowd was like, you're 14. You are totally in trouble. Get that man away from her right now. So, like, part of the crowd is like laughing along with this, and the other part of the crowd is just like, that is a 14-year-old baby, leave her alone. And the other Sailor Guardians, they figured out right away. They're like, time. You got some moves on you that we were not doing this season. So, of course, then, the story picks up where it should. The big battle between Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask and all the other Guardians get KO'd a bit. And then they follow the manga. And we see Queen Beryl getting in on the action, and she's blasting everybody away. And Sailor Venus gets hurt really badly, and she's like, oh, my power. Oh, I can't hit you with my little wink chain. Oh, I can't hit you with my crescent beam. Maybe this big-ass sword can. And she takes her sword, and she goes to town on Queen Beryl. And she takes Queen Beryl out. And those who were, like, used to the anime, they were in the crowd, they were confused. They were like, oh my god, was Sailor Venus supposed to do that? And those of us who read the manga were screaming and cheering. We're like, she did the thing! She did the thing! So, like, I'm freaking the hell out. I am enjoying this tremendously. And she doesn't just, like, oh, she hits Queen Beryl dramatically. No, she's more like, die screaming motherfucker. And she, like, gets it in there and twists and gets it further. And she gets, like, this whole bloody thing with Queen Beryl. And it's done very artistically. And Queen Beryl gets, like, this dramatic death scene. And I'm just like, oh my god, that's my badass Venus. And then, of course, she's taking care of Queen Beryl, but Tuxedo Mask is still possessed. So then we're realizing, uh-oh, magic went a little deeper in Vegas than we thought. So they do the whole thing that we see in Sailor Moon Crystal, where, like, the inner guardians are like, we've got to protect the princess. Kashwam, we really screwed up. We didn't protect the princess at all. We failed this job. And those who didn't see that episode in Crystal were confused because they were like, is this the part where the credits are going to roll? Because that's, you didn't tell me this was an opera. But those of us who watched Crystal, read the manga, we knew what to expect. So then, like, the inner guardians, they take it to Queen Metalia as best as they can. And this is where the play, again, goes in its own direction. So, Sailor Moon, she finds that she's actually okay because his pocket watch protected her. And she uses the crystal, but now the glow is bigger, and you can tell from even where we were sitting that it's like a proper crystal, like it's blooming. It's the true lotus flower blooming. So she's like, using the crystal and trying to navigate, and Tuxedo Mask gets revived again, and this time he's not evil anymore, and Queen Metalia is on the screen, and they do these great effects, and then the other Guardians actually pull themselves together. So what they did was they blended the two endings from the anime. So, like, the 90s anime, we see the souls of the inner Guardians and Princess Serenity go after Super Beryl. Whereas in Crystal, it's just Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask, and it's mostly just Sailor Moon, and Tuxedo Mask is there for moral support. Well, in this version, it's different. Nobody's dead. You got close, but nobody's dead. So it's all 5 of the Guardians and Tuxedo Mask, and they're going to combine their powers and hit Metalia in different areas, and then it's up to Sailor Moon to save the day. And I love this. I love that the whole team is pulling together, and it's not just like one versus the other. We get everybody together, and then we got different powers. So, like, we don't have a name for these new powers, but each of the Guardians can make, like, their own light swords at different points during the play, and then their actual powers don't have a name, but you see, like, these lights spinning, like, it's easier with the stick. Forgive me if you're light sensitive. please step away from the screen. But like you see the lights kind of going like this for each guardian in their own color, and then it spins faster, but as it spins faster, each light turns into one of their symbols. And then you see like 2 and 3 versions of their symbols just going in a circle like this in each of their hands. So imagine like the coolest thing you've ever thought, the coolest Sailor Moon thought you've ever had in your life, and now add Dragon Ball Z to it. And that's what's going on. And the lights are really dark at this point, so you just see like their powers to illuminate them. It's so cool. And then Sailor Moon has her own power like this. She like does her hands like this, and like this key energy comes out of her hands, like in Dragon Ball Z, and it's pink. It's actually the same shade of pink. And she's like pulling in all of this extra power that she never knew she had, and the crystal's kind of secondary at this point. It's just her power coming up, and she's making like these little moons as she's like, you know, doing the Super Saiyan thing. And then like the crystal comes into it, and like they're all pulling in like this new power. And Tuxedo Mask has like this power where his rose petals go from like a light pink to a white, and he's throwing in like pink energy with it, in case you wanted to know where Chibiusa gets it from. And like they're all pulling this power together, and then she's able to take it to Queen Metalia, and they do like 2 different song numbers during this, and then they do like this other number, and she finally has the wand, and she goes up on stage, and they do this light, and the moon's behind her, and she's like, "I will turn you to space dust!" And we hear Metalia like screaming in the background, and she's got like Wise Man's voice, and it was just this awesomely cool ending. And then they do a song about how, hey, the sun's coming up. Oh crap, we all have school tomorrow, even Mamoru. So we're going to all walk home together, and Mamoru's part of it. So they're holding hands, and they're all lovey-dovey and kissy, and the other guardians are like together, and they sing the song about how they're going to walk home, and nobody's taking the bus or anything. They're going to get ready for school. And then after that, they do like this whole mini concert. So they do like different character songs, and then they do this one song that I think is like their epilogue to this story, where they're in Azabu Juban and they're all in different kimonos, including Tuxedo Mask, and they're going to a festival, and they're enjoying like spring going into summer, and they're having festival food, and they're doing like this little dance with these fans, and they're just enjoying the festival. And, you know, Usagi and Mamoru are kind of on a date at this, but like her friends are there too, so it's like a chaperone date, and it's cute. And I wish I could have gotten pictures, because the kimonos go with that Mega House line of figures that I have, where they're all in kimonos. So I thought it was really, really cute. And then they reprised Queen Beryl's song where she goes to Vegas. And this time she's just going to Vegas by herself and the Yoma. And then it's a longer version of the song where she's just like, you know, Princess Serenity's like, and she's making fun of Princess Serenity. And she's tearing it up on the dance floor, and she's all into clubbing. And the Yoma are in full rave. They also do like a separate song just for the Yoma. And at this point, we're being told to wave our sticks in the air. So it's kind of like a Hatsune Miku concert, where we're like waving at a certain point in the song. And we're dancing with the Yoma, and we're dancing with Queen Beryl, and then we're dancing with the characters. And it's like you're supposed to do the stick thing at different points for different songs, right? Well, then they give this one long song to Tuxedo Mask. And it was a really passionate song, too. Like, it goes along with the one song they had him do in Crystal, but it's a totally new one. And it's a song about how he's realizing he never needed the crystal all along. He just needs Usagi. But when this was so sad. When it's time for Tuxedo Mask's number, like, everybody who is, like raving with Queen Beryl and the Yoma and each of the Sailor Guardians, when he comes on, they're just like... And I'm, like, one of 6 people in the crowd still, like, doing the thing for Tuxedo Mask, and everybody else is just like, yay. And, like, the whole crowd, and John included, they were all just like, you know, my work here is done. You didn't do anything. So poor Tuxedo Mask, like, the crowd gave him, like, no love. It's just me and 8 other people just like, we still care. I felt sorry for Tuxedo Mask, but then, like, they do, like, 3 more numbers with the rest of the girls, and everybody's, back to this with their wands. And then, afterwards, they had, like, this little segment where the girls are playing with each other, and they're like, okay, bring your cameras out, take pictures, take videos. And I'm so far away that they kind of look like figurines, so I do have pictures up. I haven't posted my videos yet. I want to edit them together first. But it's on the Moon Sisters Facebook page, and they're like goofing around with each other on stage and doing their poses. And then they play Moonlight Densetsu, and they play the long version from episode 46 of the 90s anime. And the whole cast comes out to sing the song together, including Queen Beryl and Neoma and Tuxedo Mask. And then the Inner Guardians go up through the crowd, and they're like high-fiving people and waving. And they didn't make it up to my section. It was too high. Usagi at that point was like, ah! And Queen Beryl comes up on stage, and she's like, just come on back. So they all go back to where Queen Beryl is. It's like Queen Beryl being responsible. What is this? But then, like, they do the rest of the song, and then they do this pose as one whole cast, and confetti comes on the screen, and we all gave them a standing ovation, and my husband was having a great time. I'm having a great time. He seemed to especially love the fight between Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Moon, because during that fight, they have, like, these different special effects come up, and it's all glittery and sparkly, and the Yoma are, like, in the background, and they're kind of attacking Sailor Moon, and then they're falling back so Tuxedo Mask gets a hit, and it was just really well done, and he thought it was so cool. So we enjoyed ourselves tremendously. I hope and pray they come back, because this was fun. This was a great show. Afterwards, we just took the elevator back down. The elevator was tiny, and it only had a capacity for 3 people, but we still had other Moonies trying to cram in. But we took the elevator back down because I couldn't do the stairs again. I didn't want to risk vertigo. So afterwards, we went outside. John and I got lunch at Popeyes, and we missed our first train. So we stayed at the South Shore station until 11:15 to go home. And during that time, as the crowd was dispersing, like, different groups of Sailor Moon fans went to the South Shore station, and they were doing, like, their little videos and such. I was going to do my video there too, but everybody else is doing their videos, so I didn't want to invade space. So by the time everybody was done with their videos, it was time to get on the train anyway, and we took the quiet car home. But it was a fantastic show. This was well worth the wait. I pray they come back. I hope they get their wish to go to Broadway, because I think they deserve it. And if you haven't been yet, let's see, there's only a couple dates left. I know they're in Milwaukee tonight. And then they've got, like, maybe 5 shows after that, and then they got to go back to Japan. I say go. If you haven't left already, go. Go now, because you won't regret it. I could tell you what all the other fans are telling folks on their YouTube and Instagram and TikTok videos with, get there early for the merchandise. I definitely agree with that. If you have the VIP ticket, you want to be first in line. If you don't have VIP, still show up early, because whatever they don't hog up is pretty cool. Because like I said, I got these double cards for $15. I got the tote bag, I got that t-shirt, I got my light stick, and yeah, I definitely say go fast, because it goes quick. Because like I said, when I was there, they didn't have but 4 shirts left that were in my size, so I got the one with the cast. Everybody else was stuck with just the logo version. They did have posters. The posters went pretty quickly too. They had 2 versions of them. I saw somebody on eBay bootlegged the posters already, and they have a t-shirt based on one of the posters. But this is the only official shirt with the cast that I saw. So now you know at least what it looks like, because there's a couple of bootleg shirts on eBay already. One is like an all over print, but like Jupiter and Venus are in your armpit, so it doesn't make sense. The trading cards seem to go pretty quickly too. It looked to me like there was about enough of the Inner Guardians, since they do the least in the show. But I knew Beryl and Tuxedo Mask were going to go, and this version of Sailor Moon was going to go too, because that stack was like this. There was another Sailor Moon stack that was higher. I like the pose better on this one, so that's why I chose it. And like I said, they were going pretty quick. Queen Beryl tends to go the fastest out of the cards, and then Tuxedo Mask goes pretty quick after that. They didn't have a lot of stock of them, so that's why I chose them. The magnets and buttons they had a minimal amount of, but the light sticks with the characters, that went the quickest, because that's a $20 wand. These, they had some, not a whole lot, but they had some. So I was able to get some, and I saw a couple of other people in the crowd had theirs as well. I really do think they misjudged how many of us were going to buy merchandise. The tote bags were going quickly too. Because I got this one, and then there was only like a handful of others that got their tote bags, and then that was it for the tote bags. So I'm glad that I came on time, because I got my tote bag. But yeah, if you've not made plans and they're going to be in your area, turn off the video. Go now. Go get your tickets right now, because you're going to want to see it. My overview of the show is not doing it enough justice. They do so much on the screen and so much with the lights. And another thing I forgot to mention too, aside from the opening Usagi number, we actually see Ikuko and Miss Haruna again later in the video, in the play. They get possessed by the Yoma, and they steal so much energy that they almost died. And Usagi has to use her power to revive everybody. So it's her power that revives her mom and revives her teacher. And it's interesting because, like, you see them, like, hug each other, like they know each other, and then they look up and they see Sailor Moon, and they never put it together. Oh, that's Usagi. They just kind of, like, walk away. So I thought that was, like, interesting how she appears as Sailor Moon in front of her mom, and her mom doesn't get it at all. So I thought that was pretty cool. They sneak a lot of surprises into this that I didn't even touch on. But it is the most amazing thing. It was well worth the ticket price. I hope they come back. I hope they do more as, you know, time goes on. I hope they come back with, like, more characters and such. It's worth it. It's worth it. So I'm about to lose my voice, so I'm going to jump off of this. I've got another video project that I need to do. And yeah, go see Sailor Moon if you haven't already. And thank you so much for watching my rundown of the events. And I will see you guys soon, after I figure out how to turn off the video. Here we go. Okay. Bye, guys.